everyone. Welcome to another episode of Owning Your Personal Brand. Thank you for joining us this week. I am really excited to be joined by one of my dear friends, Adelia Cozart-Amos, and she's going to be talking about cybersecurity. She's going to talk about her experience in the field and also give some really great advice of how personal branding is important if this is something that you're interested in or field that you're interested in looking into. So Adelia, thank you so much for being here today.
Oh, thank you, Amie, for inviting me. I'm so excited to be here with you. Thank you.
Good, good. Well, first, before we get started, if you can just take a few minutes and just introduce yourself to the audience, let them know what you do now, but also kind of a little bit about your journey and how you got to where you are now.
Okay, so I am currently a security delivery associate manager. I work for a company called Accenture. And my journey here is actually very humble beginnings. My journey was I wanted to be a lawyer. So I went to school. I have a bachelor's and my master's in English. Went to law school, decided that that wasn't quite the path that I wanted to take. So it led me into a career of teaching. And then from teaching, my husband, he came home, he introduced me to the idea of technical writing. And I thought, that actually sounds kind of interesting. I think I like the writing more than I like the teaching. So I started in technical writing. From there, I was given an opportunity to be a program analyst. As a program analyst, I was exposed to a lot of areas of cybersecurity that I didn't know that I really needed. I didn't know it was going to add the value that it ended up adding to my life and to my career. At the time, I felt like this is so difficult. What are they asking me to do? But because I just have a desire to learn. And because I wanted to show that I can actually do this work, I had something to prove to myself and to others. I really started kind of digging into that cybersecurity part as a program analyst. And then from that role, I was offered an opportunity to write policy and procedures for a government agency. And my manager at the time noticed my attention to detail, and she thought, you'd be great at conducting some assessments for us. And so I started conducting assessments, and then from that, it led me into information security officer role, and now I'm in the role of providing consulting services for Department of Defense. So it was humble beginnings, but it was definitely all worth the journey.
Good, good. I think a couple of things that you said are so important. Every week on my show, I'm always talking about people owning their personal brand. I'm a big believer that everybody has a personal brand and you need to recognize that and then you need to work on developing it. But your brand doesn't have to be your title. So it's interesting. You started in one area, you thought you wanted to do one thing, and then you ended up somewhere else. But it's because of who you are. It's because, like you said, your manager told you you were detailed. So it's like not necessarily your background that put you in this position, but it's kind of your characteristics and your strengths. And so, one of the things I'd love for you to talk about is what are some of the other strengths, other characteristics that people in cybersecurity should be really good at, really strong at?
Like I mentioned, attention to detail is absolutely important. Also, it's really the soft skills are extremely important to be successful in cybersecurity. Being a team player, being flexible, being willing to learn new things. The flexibility is important because it is ever changing. So you could never just walk into the day thinking that what you knew yesterday was what you need to know for today. So being flexible, a team player, I literally have to collaborate with my teams like every day. And we rely on each other. I am a governance, risk, and compliance expert. And so my expertise is what my teams need in order to be successful. I work with engineers who are, they're technical. And so that's all they know. They know that they need to get this widget, this tool, they need to get it working. And so they're not thinking about compliance. And so we really have to collaborate on a daily basis in order to get the work done. And we rely on each other and we help each other learn. So what I don't know, I teach them. What they don't know, I teach them. You know what I mean? Like we help each other learn and kind of and support each other. And so it's really important that you love working as a team and collaborating. And then also just the learning part is just so important. So I would just say, your soft skills, just making sure that you can hone in on those, because it's not so important to be as technical as it is to be flexible and willing to collaborate.
Got it. So soft skills, collaboration, detail oriented, and learning. Let's talk about learning for a moment. Where do you get information? How without having a certain degree or something like that. Like, what are some of the avenues that you have to go about getting learning for this type of job?
So I would say start with doing your own research. I literally would Google the technology that I had to learn about, and there's so many YouTube videos to teach you about anything that you want to know about cybersecurity. I work in what they call a development security operations environment, and what that really means is that as we're developing, we're integrating security into our daily operations. And so it's kind of I won't say it's a new concept, but it's not something that you can just read a book about. So I
Mhm.
have to figure it out from day to day. And so I literally have to go out and learn. And so I use YouTube, Udemy videos, Cybrary. I also use my network. I think it's really important that you get to know other people in your field that are leaders. And so having the being comfortable to reach out to them saying, I have this problem that I really need to solve. Do you have any solutions that you can provide for me? Also, it's not to get an opportunity in cybersecurity, if you do like myself, where you kind of start from humble beginnings, just kind of getting exposed to the environment gives you that experience. But also those certifications really matter. And to study for those certifications, I definitely took some AWS, Amazon Web Services. They offer some free training. I did some of that free training. That really helped me learn a lot. And then also, I have a certified authorized professional certification. That certification, I literally bought some books and I studied. So it's just really being willing to go out there and find all the resources that are out there, but there are lots of resources out there.
Yeah.
Joining a professional network also helps because those resources also are available through professional networks.
So how how would you describe how other people receive you? So when you are asking for help, do you find that other people come from similar backgrounds as yours, where they might not be technical, or are most people in cybersecurity more have a technical background?
Most of the people that I work with are very technical. So, as a governance, risk, and compliance consultant, the majority of the consultants that are at my level have been system administrators. They have worked as security engineers. And so, a lot of times I am the one person that may not have the technical degree. Some of them may have started out like maybe with an English degree and then they went back to school to get a master's degree. But I think what I want people to understand is that the education part is good. I don't, say, I wouldn't say if you are interested in going to earn the bachelor's or the master's degree, please do so. But I wouldn't say it's necessary. I think what's necessary is that you are willing to learn, that
Mhm.
you have a desire to learn, and that you're willing to ask the questions. I don't feel like anybody ever receives me as she doesn't know what she's doing. She's not very technical, because I make myself just as technical as they are. So I make sure that whatever I will ask them, give me some resources. I'm working in an environment with a Kubernetes platform. And I asked them, I said, give me some resources so I can learn about Kubernetes. I'm not familiar with that type of platform. And so I will ask my team members to give that information to me and I study it. And then I begin to ask very detailed questions so that it makes sense to me. And then as I'm asking them those questions, they begin to see, like, you really understand this, like, like you get it. And so I just think, it's not a barrier at all when you don't have the technical background.
Good. And I think in most cases, whether it's cybersecurity or another industry, people tend to help people who help themselves. So if you show that initiative and that you're willing to learn, you're willing to do the work, then people seem a little bit more ready to help you. But if you're just kind of looking for handouts or you're looking for somebody to do for you, that's not really the way to go. So I appreciate that. What about being a woman in a technical industry? How do you deal with that, and what kind of barriers have you found in that realm?
So I would say the barrier that I probably think most women would face in technology is that sometimes people may assume that you don't know the answer. And they may try to overtalk you, or as it's kind of a term that people use in the workplace, mansplain. So you may say something, and they may come back and say it exactly the same thing you said. And so, honestly, what I have found that works is that I just remain confident. I actually will just, prove my point by doing my best. And so I found that a lot of times, just me doing my work and doing a great job, asking questions, and really, because I am detail oriented, I know how to like dig in and ask the difficult questions. And I
Mhm.
think a lot of times that gives me a lot of respect with my male colleagues. So I have found that maybe initially there may be some reservations. Does she, like, does she really know? And does she understand? But I think once they, I would say within a few weeks of working with me, they understand that like she is here to make this environment better, because my goal is always to be impactful. So I think if you walk into any space with the mindset that I'm here to make a difference, I'm here to help you, I'm here to make your job easier, I think a lot of times people will have that respect for you, and it won't be such a barrier.
Okay, good. Well, let's switch to some tactical around personal branding and talk about writing. You were an English major, so that's certainly something, and the technical writing is in your background. But how do you feel about writing articles, for trade magazines or blogging to help you kind of gain some credibility and authority in this industry?
Okay. And so I think that the writing part actually helps, for one, because it's a field that's ever changing.
Mm,
You are always looking like, as for me, like at least 3 times a week, I'm conducting research on whatever a topic may be. And so, because we are always trying to find out like how to, it's a lot of problem solving.
mm,
And so, because I'm always looking to solve problems, I'm always looking for an article that somebody has written. So, I think a lot of times, the writing part is essential if you really want to have you want to be impactful in this field, and you want others to be able to see like what your ideas are. Sometimes I'm just reading articles on other people's strategies that they've developed for how to implement any kind of cloud infrastructure. So the writing and the blogging would definitely is something that you would want to get involved in, so that you can help others in the profession. And I think also it's really helpful that you try to choose topics that of interest. So the big thing is that all most companies are migrating from what they would call on-premise to cloud platforms. So I think that the hot topic right now is cloud. So if you can find what the hot button issues are in cloud, focus on that. I think that that would be a great opportunity to get noticed with the writing and the blogging.
What are some other ways that you found that have worked to kind of gain credibility as you're building up your actual work experience in cybersecurity?
So definitely going after the certifications.
Mhm.
So that was something that gained some credibility. Having a non-technical background, I think that people did not expect for me to be able to do that. So when I study for the test, pass it on the first try, people that had master's degrees and bachelor's degrees in technical fields were like, "You passed it on the first try." So that is definitely a way to get some credibility. I think also. Honestly, being ahead of the pack is a great way to get some credibility. And so always, it's the studying, it's the knowing what's out there before other people kind of know what's out there. It's knowing what tools, what services. So having like coming to the table with actual suggestions and ideas, and saying, hey, you all are not doing this in this environment. You don't necessarily have to give your secrets away, say, I read this article, but you can definitely say, hey, why don't we try this? And I found that that's gotten me a lot of credibility coming into the room with actual solutions to some of the issues and the problems that they're facing.
Okay. What about confidence? How much does that play a role in the fact that, again, being someone that has a non-technical background, you going and asking people for help, you sitting in a room where maybe there aren't that many women in your team. Like, how does that confidence, or how does confidence play a role in you being able to be so successful in this field?
It's essential. You have to be confident. You have to believe that I can learn anything. And that's actually what I tell people when they first meet me. So when someone tries to, which I haven't had it happen often, but I have had people sort of think, that I'm not very technical and I may not understand. I will just say to them, I can learn anything. There is nothing that I cannot learn. And so I think you just have to, you have to be confident. You have to be able to let people know that it doesn't matter that my background doesn't match your background. It doesn't matter that I'm a woman. It doesn't matter that I'm a person of color. What matters is that I'm here to help push along the agenda. And I have a strategy for doing that. And so I think a lot of times, because I come to the table with ideas and I come to the table with a strategy on how we're going to be successful, I will literally lay out a plan of how we're going to get from point A to point B. And sometimes people, in the field, we're just trying to get things done. But
Mhm.
I'm like, hey guys, let's slow down. Let's have a plan. And I think a lot of times, just coming prepared and having that confidence is really what it helps me a lot. So it is important to be confident, because otherwise you'll just you may not just be as successful because you're always second guessing what you said, and somebody will second guess you. They will try to challenge you. And so you have to say, and being okay being wrong, right? It's like being confidently wrong. Sometimes, I may say something and it's like, well, that's not exactly how it works, Adelia. And I'm like, oh, okay, I didn't understand that, but can you explain it to me? But I'm still, it doesn't take away from the fact that I'm still here to do a great job. So yeah, confidence is key.
Good, good. Well, what kind of advice would you give to someone who might be listening to this and thinking that they've read about cybersecurity, they have some interest, but they don't really know how to get started? They don't know what to do to start. What kind of advice would you give people on trying to get their foot in the door in this industry?
Okay. Well, I would say network, network, network. I think the best way to get an opportunity is to reach out to people that are in the field and ask, what is, first of all, you need to understand what you want to do. A cybersecurity is such a broad term, and there are probably like 25 different jobs. So like my expertise is in governance, compliance, risk and compliance, but I work with people that are called, they're ethical hackers. I also work with, system engineers. And so there's so many things that you can do in the field. So it's important to network so you can kind of figure out where you fit and what you have interest in. But it's also important to, I would say, show people that that you're willing to learn, that you're really interested, because oftentimes you'll find people say, I want to try a career in cybersecurity. And then you'll ask them, so have you been to any conferences? Have you taken any classes? And you don't have to spend a lot of money. Like I said, you can get on YouTube, you can do Udemy, Cybrary. YouTube is free. But if I haven't seen you do anything to show me that you're interested, and I would say that's probably other people in the field as well, they may not take you seriously. So I would say networking, trying to learn on your own, joining an organization. A lot of the organizations out there, like ISC Squared, I belong to the DC chapter. The DC chapter meets virtually once a month. And then they also have some in-person meet and greets throughout the year. They haven't done it in a while, as far as I know, because of COVID, but those are opportunities to get to know people. Because a lot of times if you meet somebody and you show them that you're interested, that you're willing to learn, that you've taken the initiative to be a part of the organization, you've taken the initiative to join conferences, then somebody may give you an opportunity. And so, yeah, it's definitely, but it's up to you to put yourself out there. It's for those that may be introverts. It's really putting yourself outside your comfort zone
Mhm.
and putting yourself in front of people. It's really going to help.
Good, good. Well, I appreciate everything that you have shared. Before we wrap up, how can people reach out to you if they have specific questions about cybersecurity in general, or specifically about the role that you have?
So if you're interested in learning more about working as a governance risk and compliance consultant, definitely reach out to me if you're just interested in knowing more about cybersecurity. So my LinkedIn is here. I will definitely accept your request. Just let me know how I can help you. I'm specifically interested in helping diversify the field. So that's something that I really would like to work more and collaborate more with some other people like myself in the field. But I'd like to see more women, and I'd like to see more people of color. And so, but I'm willing to help anybody. But it is the field is definitely deficient of everybody because the world it doesn't just include one group of people. It has everybody in the world, and so we want to make sure that the issues of everybody is handled as it relates to cybersecurity. So it's important that the field it matches what our world looks like. So
Good.
definitely reach out on LinkedIn.
Perfect. Well, again, thank you for joining us. And I think definitely the, characteristics that you should focus on if you're interested in this field. We talked about soft skills, collaboration, being a team player, but the biggest thing that I took away from this is the learning. And you've got to be kind of a self-starter. You've got to show some initiative, use free resources, use the ones that might not be free, but they don't cost that much, to just start digging in and really getting an understanding of some of the technology and also the field, so that you can show people that you're somebody they should reach out and help, or somebody they should answer questions for and things like that. Definitely remember that everyone has a personal brand. This week we talked about cybersecurity, but really it's about anything you might be interested in. It's important that you get to know yourself. It's important that you're confident in yourself and the skills that you have, so that you can make sure to take those skills to whatever industry or whatever job. Sometimes the title doesn't really matter, but it's about who you are and what kind of strengths you bring to an organization and to a team. And
Absolutely.
so, Adelia, thank you so much again for joining us and sharing your insights. You can check out owningyourpersonalbrand.com to see past episodes of the show. And we will be back again next week for another episode with another guest. And I genuinely, appreciate you sharing this time with us today. And I hope that I will see you next week.